So the extremely condensed nutshell version of the history of yoga, a gentleman by the name of Swami Vivekananda gave an address to the Parliament of Religions in the late 1800s. It was in conjunction with the World's Fair of 1893, and it sort of interested a lot of people in the study of yoga and in the study of these Indian teachings. And it sent a lot of spiritual seekers from the West to India to study and to find out a little bit more about what he was talking about in this address. And some of the seekers that had gone to India found this gentleman by the name of Krishnamurti, and he was brought by some seekers to the West. And again, this is back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and it's all philosophy. It's all yoga as lifestyle, yoga as being, yoga as a path toward enlightenment. So that's kind of from a philosophical perspective. But then there's also the physical perspective of yoga, which is, anyone that practices yoga today, anyone who calls himself a yogi today, they're doing a lot of physical work. And when it comes to that, there is a gentleman by the name of Krishnamacharya, and he is the one that is predominantly credited with beginning a lineage of asana instructors that really, they were the founding fathers of modern physical asana practice. And I think that probably one person that could be credited for really making it very popular, Indra Devi, studied under Krishnamacharya, she studied under Krishnamurti, she studied under Iyengar.
She opened up a yoga studio in Hollywood, and that's when yoga just really bloomed.
She was kind of credited as being the first teacher in the West who really blended a lot of styles, and it was probably the precursor to what we now all think of as yoga in the West. I remember Tyler coming in to a little studio in Hermosa Beach where I was working. I think he was 7 years old. He had a little baby brother, and his mom, Glenna, would take Tyler and his brother Ryan into the Mommy and Me class that we offered.
I'd bring a mat for him, and I would just tell him, do what you can, but just don't say it's easy, because all of us moms just had babies.
Fast forward to, junior high, all of a sudden he's starting to attend classes and he's rolling out a yoga mat, and I mean, just such a natural.
I met Tyler when he was 12 years old in a yoga class, and was blown away by what an old soul he was. Most kids that come to class, there's a sense of them being maybe shy or kind of insecure, but Tyler in the yoga class, he was in his element.
By the time he was 14, he started teacher training, and he actually inspired me to do teacher training also. And by the time he was almost 18, I believe, he had acquired his 500-hour teacher training certification, which is the highest that you can do.
A 200-hour training in yoga is kind of like getting your bachelor degree, and a 500-hour is getting your master's degree. And I trained him for most of the master's degree part, the 500-hour part.
I happened to lead a teacher training, and he took it. During the teacher trainings, you have an opportunity to actually teach. And so he had asked if he could make his own playlist, because usually I just play one of my old playlists for those classes that they teach. Then after the teacher trainings, I decided that I wanted to bring something a little bit more into my classes. People hadn't really done a lot of DJing in classes, and I just thought that that would be a really fun, abstract way to let people just let go. I asked Tyler. I knew that he had just gotten like a system that was for DJing, and so I asked him if he would DJ, and he was all for it, and it was just so awesome. And so we did this consistently every few months, and more people started to show up, and they just loved it, and they would request it. And it's been a big thing in this community, and now a lot of other teachers are doing it.
He's a perfect example of somebody who takes their yoga off the mat and takes it into his everyday life, and that's what's made him the person that he is today, the great person that he is today, and I'm proud of it.